Josh, have you ever played the game Most Embarrassing Moment? A friend might ask you to tell us about your most embarrassing moment. You have a crowd of people and they tell embarrassing moment.
I've never done it in front of, well, I guess I've kind of done it in front of a crowd of people, but I've never played the game officially. I've just been asked.
Okay, we're going to do that today. I'm going to tell you an embarrassing moment today.
Okay, I'll try to think of one as well.
All right.
Oh, this is episode 70.
We have officially been designated the longest lasting podcast at Markers Point Baptist Church.
Yes.
So technically, we have been that a long time ago.
Right.
But as it stands now, with the name Deep Dives, we are the most
Have the
prolific
most episodes.
Podcast available right now.
Cool.
And we're not stopping.
Right.
We have no plans of stopping.
Is this still the hook?
This isn't the hook, is it? No, we're done with the hook.
Okay.
So I'm going to tell a story, which if you've been in more than one of my classes, you know I'm full of stories.
Yes.
And that's just the way I do things. I don't know why. It's the way I do things. Tell stories. So a while back, we talked about music. It's one of my favorite subjects. So I wanted to show this Metallica Master of Puppets CD. One of the things I like about Metallica is that they produce CDs a lot like people used to produce albums, that they put these little sleeves in there. Every album I've gotten from Metallica, they have these sleeves, and it's just like a mini album. It's got all the lyrics in it. I mean, listen, I can't read that. You know, even with my new glasses, I can't read that.
Right.
Barely, but it's there, right? If I wanted to research it, and it's got some more information about it. I like that. And they're all remastered. All the ones that I've got have been remastered. And I'll say this again. I've said it before on the podcast. If you're going to buy new CDs of music, try to get ones that say remastered on it. It's going to say it in the back or somewhere in the front, because it's a whole new level of quality of music. The old CDs will sound flat compared to what you're used to listening to these days.
Okay. I have a picture that relates to this album, Master of Puppets.
All right, good. We can give it to Chris. You can put it on the.
Yeah, I'll show it. I don't think you can zoom in on this at all, but
yeah, there you go. Think about that when I'm telling the story.
Right.
Kermit playing the drums.
This is one that I made.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All
so
right, gotcha.
My mom and I, when I was a kid or teenager, we used to travel around to different churches doing puppet shows and stuff.
That's right.
And we would make them all. And at a local church here I used to go to, they wanted to start a puppet thing, and they're asking around. I'm like, well, it just so happens I've designed stages and built stages, and I know how to make puppets. And so I set up an assembly line. We made a bunch of them. This is one that I made.
Okay, excellent.
And so I'm kind of a master of puppets myself.
Very good. Well, my hope is that you can help me turn this into a spiritual lesson, because I'm going to be up front with you. I haven't.
Right.
It's just a story that I want to tell because it was such an experience. So Metallica, you know everything about Metallica. It's hard. Even their slow songs has a really hard downbeat.
Right.
And the car that I have now has a subwoofer, and that really brings out the bass.
Right.
The frequency in a subwoofer you don't hear on radios that don't have subwoofers. If you hear mostly mid, you hear the mids, like the deep voices and things like that, but not the boom, boom, boom bass.
Right.
I like that. So I was listening to a song, was it Monday, and I had left the house all last week, the past 5-7 days, and wanting to bring this CD with me, and I hadn't. I forgot it every time until Monday rolls around. I was walking out of the house, and I thought, CD, boom, all right. And I was excited because I wanted to listen to this. I haven't listened to this music in probably over a month. So I wanted to listen to it. So I was excited, so I got it. Put it in the car. And the way, maybe I should put a GoPro. Maybe I should put a GoPro in my car sometime and just show the progression of how I listen to music from the time before I even open the garage, backing out, take off. I try to, sometimes even consciously try to just listen to the music, Destry. Don't try to sing the lyrics. Don't play any air instruments. Just listen to it. That's what I try to do. By the time I get to work, I'm doing that. You know what I mean? And this story is no exception. So I found myself. It's 20 minutes to work, and I'm listening, happy. But I got the top down. It's not sunny, but it's 60 degrees or something like that. So I'm just loving it. And I pull into the church's parking lot, and another song just came on. And so I pulled in, backed up, and I went ahead and put the top up. And as soon as the top came up, another level of sound arrived. If you can imagine, the sound, a lot of sound you lose a lot of sound with the top out, so you got to turn it up more.
Right.
So the top down, you can hear more bass. So the top came down. I thought, well, I'm not going anywhere now. And by the time I knew I had went from playing the air drums, like maybe a hi-hat and a snare, to having toms over here, bigger ones over here, way over here. In other words, my air drum was man, it was everywhere. And the steering wheel was either the middle tom or the snare drum or a cymbal. I was getting it. I can't do my head like this a lot because I have this Meniere's disease thing, and if I move my head very much, I get really, really dizzy. So I've got to make sure that I don't move my head, but my arms are going everywhere. I'm killing it, right?
Right.
In my mind, I'm sure I look like I did. But as I'm playing and listening to this music, a thought goes over my head. Wouldn't it be funny if somebody was watching me right now and I look over to the left? Within 6 feet was this church secretary. She was looking at me. She had this look on her face like she was trying to see if I was okay or something. And I thought, I wonder if she can see me. It looks like she can. Oh, yeah, I don't have tinted windows. So I know she can see me. She sees me. So I stop all of a sudden, and I say, you know how a gamut of thoughts will come to you in just a second. And I don't know how long it took me, but I stopped for a minute, and I thought, what am I going to do? Am I going to be embarrassed? What am I going to do? And I thought, Destry, you turned 60 years old in September. What do you care? Why do you care what anybody thinks about you? If it doesn't mess up your testimony, why do you care? And so I thought, 10-4. So I just waved at her with the veracity of what I was playing the drums with, and went back to playing the drums.
Right.
And every now and then I'd look over, and when I first saw her, she wasn't even in her car yet. So every now and then I look over, she was still getting ready to get in her car. She opened her car door, all that stuff. She got in. And what I learned was that she was trying not to look at me. Instead of me being embarrassed, she was the one that was embarrassed.
So she was embarrassed that she caught you in this embarrassing situation.
And I realized I just gave all of that embarrassment, or all of that whatever I thought I was going to maybe have. She has it. Isn't that interesting that I'm just continuing to do it, and I honestly 100% I wasn't concerned with it.
Right.
And I think I took it a step farther, and I haven't even said a word to her yet. Even whenever I see her, I just go on about business. I haven't said a word to her yet. I'm going to wait until it's appropriately funny to bring it up. I don't know how I'm going to bring it up, but I will. And last night in Gun Club, I asked people, help me make this a spiritual lesson somehow. I'm not sure how, but there it is. I say one of my embarrassing moments, but really, it's not. I can honestly say I'm not embarrassed a bit. It was just I'm going to continue to play the air drums. I'll play some air guitar, Josh. I'll do whatever I need to do. in order to enjoy the music I listen to.
So you at the beginning you said that this was an embarrassing story about you, but it wasn't. It was
Yep.
okay.
In the past,
So I
it
feel-
would have been embarrassing.
I feel a little slighted because I was hoping this was going to be an embarrassing story about you.
That's true. So maybe I need to bring it up something different. I mean, a potential embarrassing moment. And in the past, it would have been. I would have been embarrassed, But some kind of breakthrough I went through where I'm not embarrassed a bit. I might go to her office and play air drums.
Right.
And just walk in, play air drums, and walk out. And I don't care. It has nothing to do with my affection for her at all. It's just the way that I am perceiving things these days, I guess,
Right.
Anyway, so does that not make you not want to tell an embarrassing story, or do you want to just help me make it into a spiritual
both.
lesson?
So I would say, let me think of an embarrassing story, because I do have plenty of them, but I'm trying to think of one that would. So most of my embarrassing stories, I don't really get embarrassed too much by stuff. Usually when I do, I'm trying to think of one that would be embarrassing for me, but wouldn't implicate my wife in something
Oh,
that she might think is
that's wise.
embarrassing or something. Because
That's
sometimes it's embarrassing to me and her.
Right.
I do remember, okay, so this is one where I probably should have been embarrassed.
I think I like those stories better. The older you get, the more those are prevalent.
So I kind of see those kind of events as like when I'm around and someone else does something that they feel embarrassed about, I don't necessarily think it's like, I don't think any less of them. I just think it's, a funny, quirky thing that we all do. And so I tend to assume the same thing about my embarrassing events. Like, it doesn't make someone think less of me. It's just something funny that happens. And I remember one time I was, I'd been invited to this, job site to provide some consulting for a structural engineering issue, right? And we're walking around the property, and we come to this, really dinky little fence, like a screened-in fence or something like that, with a little gate, and had a little gadget that you have to fiddle with to open it up or whatever. And this whole time I'm talking to him about engineering things and structural things and the physics of
I'm smart.
Yeah, and I get to this little gate, and I cannot figure it out for the life of me. And I just like stopped, and I turned to the other person. I'm like, I have a master's degree in engineering.
How you doing? Can you open this gate for me?
Because I just thought, like, that's probably the funniest thing I can say at the moment.
That's good.
to make
We were all thinking it, John.
to make this moment that's embarrassing to turn it into something really funny. That's good.
That's really good. What else you gonna do? Hey, I know. I feel you, because if you can't see it, I mean, are there not like 100 different types of latches that you can put on a fence?
Right, and they're all supposed to be simple, except for small children. So I guess that's me.
That's good. By the way, I'm drinking a coffee this morning for the first time. I've wanted to do this for a while. From a recommendation from Sarah from church. Some type of hot sauce in coffee. And that just sounds good to me.
Yeah.
So, and you gave me some today to put in, and you warned me. Just put in a couple of drops.
Is it really hot?
It's pretty warm. I put in some drops. Josh don't know who he's talking to.
So
I put in a lot of milk to offset it. Yeah, I know. That smoke came up when I put it in. I don't know what that means.
So this one time I was sorry, I've been trying to answer a really
You got fires going on this morning.
I got fires going on this morning, so
Right.
my brain's processing power has been a little split. But anyway, I remember a long time ago at a previous engineering firm I worked with, I was doing a project for like the VP of the company at his house, and so we all went out there and took a look at stuff. And he took us out to lunch at the same time, and it was a place out in Gulf Breeze, and they had wings that are they had different degrees of spiciness to them, and so I love spicy stuff. And so I told them, just give me the hottest ones you got. And so everyone was like warning me, like, be careful because they're spicy. And so the people I worked with, and especially my boss, he was like hoping that these would be like super spicy and I'd freak out and all this stuff. And they weren't. They just tasted good. They had a little heat to them, but nothing, no big deal. Well, he was kind of disappointed. So he went to the people at the restaurant, like, do you have anything hotter? And like, well, that's the hottest thing on our list. Like, but do you have anything hotter than that? They're like, anything. Yeah, we can probably come up with something. So they brought something else out, and it still wasn't.
Really?
It wasn't any big deal.
My goodness gracious.
And so he was waiting for me to like my face to explode or something like that, and it didn't happen. And so he went back to him and was like, okay, is there something like you could make or fabricate or something like that that's just insanely hot? And like, okay, we'll bring out the hottest thing we can come up with. And so they did. And so by this time, like, your pride sort of gets in the way, right? It's like, I don't care what they bring out. It can melt my face off. I'm not going to give any reaction whatsoever.
I've got a master's degree in engineering.
Right. And so they brought it out in a little container, and I'm pouring it on my wings. I'm eating it. And yeah, it was pretty spicy. Like, it didn't kill me, but it was still pretty spicy.
Still spicy, okay.
Yeah. And so it was one where, like, if I was by myself, I'd be like, and I'd need to, drink something. I'd still eat it, but, I enjoy the heat. But, game was on, like, no reaction. I'm like, yeah, I can, it's a little hotter.
Tear come out of your eye.
Right? And so, so I did that, ate it, and I figured I'm going to go one more. And I'm like, it is pretty spicy. It's got a good taste, though. And I just took the cup
and
just took a swig of it right from the little cup they gave me. And they are all freaking out. It was awesome. The next day, however.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That was a bad day at work. I won't go into detail, but that was a bad
You don't have
day
to.
at work.
I think we get it.
But to at least acquiesce a little bit, I texted him like, "It's hot today."
Hot today, hot tamale. Josh, I'll finish up with this.
Okay.
Ironically enough, this happened in the exact same spot, the parking lot of Marcus Point Baptist Church, where I work. So it was a weekday, whatever it was. There was not a lot of cars in the parking lot, which is unusual. So it wasn't a lot going on. So I go outside, go to my car, which is only about 35 feet from the door that I go out of. And at the time, I had a hatchback. And I needed something from the hatchback. So I opened the hatchback, and I reached in to get something. Now, let me back up just for a second. There was a car parked next to mine. There was my car was parked. There was an empty parking space, and a car was parked right next to mine. And the only reason I noticed that is because, like I said before, there were not a lot of cars in the parking lot. Unusual. So I noticed this car. Noticed a car, not only a car, but a car I didn't recognize. Mm-hmm. And after a while, you know people's cars, and you know when they're going to be there and that kind of thing. Didn't recognize this car at all. So it caught my attention. But just for a moment.
Right.
So past that car as I was going out, opened the trunk or the hatch, reached in to get whatever it was, probably some type of camera gear or something that was way back. And as I reached in, the part of the car that my stomach was on applied just enough pressure to my stomach to let me know that there's some air in there that just, I don't know, just there's some air in there that just feels uncomfortable. And just that perfect pressure, it told me, you could release it right now if you wanted to, and you'd be fine. So I'll use your word, I acquiesced, and I released that pressure. It was fine. I was fine. It's okay. Go on about my business. So I come back out, and I look over, and there's a lady standing right next to me. There's nobody around. This is a split second in my life, and there's a lady standing next to me. She was nowhere to be found anywhere whenever I came out.
Yeah.
So we make eye contact, and she has a look on her face.
Were you done by this point?
I was done.
Okay.
It was just a second. It was one of those times.
During.
No, not during. It was, reach in. Okay, you take care of business, you get up. It was a split second. She's standing there looking at me with a confused look on her face. So I think, all right. So what do I do now? I step forward, put out my hand. Hi, I'm Craig Heinzman. Can I help you find? Can I help you find somewhere? I'm Pastor Craig. Can I help you find somewhere? I didn't know what else to do. She said, no, thank you.
So you just gave her someone else's name. Does he know this?
Actually, I just made that part up.
Okay.
It's better the story that I do that. I thought about doing that, but I did not do it. I actually just said, how you doing? And that was it. How you doing? And I closed the door. She was like, how you doing today? Good. And I'm never going to see this lady.
Doing a lot better now.
Woo, man. You ever eat at Pizza Hut?
I was in between appointments one time, and since we're now talking about embarrassing stories,
Oh gosh.
And it was one of those days where I just went from appointment to appointment to appointment, site visits and stuff like that. And so I didn't have any time for lunch. So in between two appointments, I stopped off at Jersey Mike's and got a sub. I love their subs, but I couldn't sit there and eat it. I had to eat it in the car on the way, and I only had like maybe 10 minutes between.
They're not small subs, Josh.
They're not, right? And so
you did it on the run. That's a task.
Right. But if you do it right, you can shove that sucker down in 10 minutes.
You could have done it
especially
before.
if you reach the right red light, which I had. And so this was before I had tinted windows, and this is one of the reasons I decided to get tinted windows.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sitting at this red light, like, game's on. This is my opportunity. I'm just like shoving this thing in. It was probably a horrible sight. I don't know. I was just trying to get sustenance before
It was your only
I died,
opportunity.
right? And like I have this thing like halfway in. I'm just like mowing down on it. I happened to glance over, and sitting in the next lane next to me at the red light was this just horrified woman looking at me just like,
She couldn't take her eyes off of you.
what is going on in that car over there? This horribly disgusting person. And so I just kind of smiled at her, sub all over my face, shirt unbuttoned because I don't want to like drop it on my shirt, because I've done that before where I've actually dropped lunch on my shirt, and then I have to like, I can't show up to a meeting with like chili down the front of my shirt or something. So I like run into Walmart real quick and just grab the first shirt I see and change in the car real quick.
Pensacola.
Yeah.
Native Pensacola.
Right. And so to avoid having to do that, now if I have to, do that kind of thing, I usually like, unbutton my shirt or something.
That's a lovely sight.
"Ah," yeah.
That's a lovely sight. Oh, I can see it, man. Especially if you've got one of the white T-shirts underneath,
Yeah, which when I wear a collared shirt, I usually have a white T-shirt underneath.
There you go.
So that can get all messed up, and I just put
That's too funny.
Now, if anyone's listening to this ever meets me after lunch, they're like, what's going on?
The only thing that would make that better if you had one of those magnetic signs advertising Huber Engineering right below your head as you're shoving that. She's got that association for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
Don't call them.
Call them before lunch.
That's good. Oh my gosh. Well, this is a Christian podcast.
Yes.
It's a podcast run by Christians. That's Josh. That's it. Oh, let me say one more thing.
Okay.
You got to get going, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm actually leaving town today.
You are. Where are you
Yeah.
going? Can you tell us?
Yeah. So one of the things that I do through my company is I sponsor one of the teams at local high school that competes in this competition that NASA does every year. It's called the Human Exploration Rover Challenge, where they the students build a human-powered vehicle that they then take to the Space Museum up in Huntsville, Alabama. And NASA builds this whole track for them that mimics all these different types of
Wow, how cool.
topographies and terrain types and all this stuff. But at the same time, they have to stop periodically and perform tasks like
Okay.
you have to take a soil sample without getting out of your vehicle, or you have to connect some wires and reestablish communications link or something like that. And they accrue points for all this stuff, and then there's a time component. And so there's like the physical constraints of having two people power this thing, with their legs. There's the mechanics of how the vehicle works, navigating all these different terrains, going uphill and downhill, all that stuff. And then their ability to perform these tasks at the same time. So since I'm a sponsor and I have my name on the vehicle, one of the few times I ever get to go anywhere that's not, well, I mean, I guess it's technically work related.
Yeah, but still, it's enjoyable.
Yeah, it's something that's not specifically like an engineering project like my normal projects are. It's more of a project like I kind of help out. I get to go up there and spend a day at NASA.
Wow, how cool is that? Just doing that.
Yeah, doing that. And also they have a lot of retired NASA engineers there who worked on the Apollo programs and stuff. And I've actually, been able to, get to know at least one of them. And to the point where he recognizes me, and we've gone, he's taken me through the museum.
Oh, nice.
Because he was one of the ones that worked on the original Apollo program. And that museum up there has a lot of Apollo stuff. And so he's been able to take me through and give me stories of when he was working on this stuff.
Gold.
And super, super cool.
Man.
And so it's something I do as through my business. It's, part marketing, part, supporting the community, but it's also an enjoyable thing too. So that's what I'm going to be leaving for this afternoon.
Hey, Chris, can you imagine how many pocket protectors are in that room? Can you imagine that? I bet there are just 1,000 pocket protectors. Slide in a roll of tape this big to when things break.
Lenses this thick.
Yes, I bet that's the place to go.
When I was a teenager, I graduated high school and I was going off to engineering school. My mom, as a gift, got me a pocket protector as a joke.
That's great.
Here you go, nerd.
Get out of that. It reminds me, this is the kind of thing you're talking about that would be low-hanging fruit for a church to do a ministry.
Oh, absolutely.
This is the answer to the kids who don't do sports.
Right. Well, that's the thing. Like a lot of churches, when they do ministries into like school systems or with youth or even college, a lot of it's centered around sports, and that's a very small percentage of campuses. A lot of times is people who are involved in sports. The overwhelming majority of the students are in the STEM fields, and or even not even in the STEM fields, but they might not be doing stuff that's sports related. They might be doing philosophy degrees or engineering, mathematics, that kind of stuff, or art. And there's a tremendous opportunity to go into colleges and schools and things like that. With those other disciplines in mind. It's really kind of an untapped thing for the most part.
I think it is. I've always been intrigued by that idea that you've had. I can see you doing that whenever you retire or whenever you have more time to do something extracurricular. I can see that. Josh, we'll end with this.
Okay.
So this is the album I showed a while ago that or the CD that I talked about when I was playing air guitar. I learned something. So I also last night at church, Wednesday night, I had pictures that I took of people the previous month. I just printed out from Walmart and I hand those out. People love that. It's great. And I've learned that it's a good advertisement. I put photos by Destry at smugmug.com, and it's just a good little advertisement. It costs 14 cents, to do a picture. So I had like 4 or 5 pictures, and I was handing those out. And I went to I had one left, and I had an idea where this person was. So I went all the way to the cafeteria, which is all the way across the church from where we have class. And I stopped and got coffee, put this CD down, my coffee. A girl, Bonnie, came up to me, Joe Ryland's wife, a good friend of mine, the coach of West Florida. His wife came up to me. That's a good CD. And she went on. I went, oh, I never thought she would like to see. And I had 2 other people that I would never have thought that would listen to CD. One of them, last night, Natasha, was giving us a background on Metallica. Was she not?
Yeah.
She was telling us, well, that song's about this. That song's about this. And I was like, I would never think she would listen to that. So I think there's a subculture of Metallica fans that they do not want people to know. So I'm going to do this for the next week or so when I'm at church. I'm going to just carry around a Metallica CD, maybe even an album, something big, or a shirt. Like, thank you, Chris, a shirt or something, and just see how many people come up to me and start talking to me about Metallica. Because I'm as far as I know, I'm the first one in the church to go, I am a Metallica fan. You see what I'm doing? I listen to Metallica. I'm not ashamed of it. So I'm just that's an experiment that I'll report on later to see
it's gonna be
happens.
It's gonna be an I am Spartacus moment. Everyone's like, I like Metallica. I like Metallica. I like Metallica.
I'm gonna have a stick with a board on it with one Metallica's album. I'm just going to start walking around the sanctuary, and people are going to get behind me. And we like Metallica. We like Metallica.
It was a fun 70 episodes, but I'm pretty sure we're not
that's
right anymore.
I used to love going to Marcus Point. It was my favorite church until they told me not to come
I feel
back.
like we're going to be decommissioned here pretty soon.
I'm going to do the research. Natasha told us last night that there are some spiritual, we'll use that very loosely, components to some of the songs.
Right.
And that's
not necessarily Christian, but
not
spiritual.
Necessarily Christian, that's right.
Introspective.
And I will say, I think we're not doing some bands a favor by listening to just the music and the way that they portray their music and lyrics. If you just get caught up on the headbang or whatever it is, you don't like the music, you don't listen to. I think it's a mistake not to listen to the lyrics. It might be just the way that they're portraying how they feel.
For 2 reasons: one, they could be really good lyrics and you're missing them, or they could be really bad lyrics. You don't know you're being exposed to them.
Exactly right. And I am proof of both. I am proof of both. I told you. I think I was on this podcast the Highway to Hell song, right?
Yeah.
I was singing, playing the air drums.
Right.
I'm on the highway to. Probably shouldn't be singing.
Yeah.
I'm not on the highway to hell, so I don't
mean,
listen
it
to
just
that.
depends which road you're on in Pensacola.
That's
that could
true.
be appropriate.
Yeah, and I was on W Street, so it was pretty bad. Anyway, Josh, thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Chris, thank you.
Short episode today, but yeah, we'll be back in full force next week.
We will be back in full force, and I'll close with this. I am trying, and so is Josh. We're trying to keep our mouths right here.
Oh, yes.
I know I don't do it because I look at Chris. I think Chris is part of the podcast, and I'm always looking at him, and I do like that. And Donna told me the other day, I can't hear half things you're saying.
Right. Well, I'm
Like,
usually when I'm
excited.
talking, especially when I'm getting really into what I'm talking about, like I'm usually looking off into the distance, or I'll back up and I'll all this kind of stuff. Like
Both guilty.
yeah,
We're
and
both guilty of it.
I found that if I push the mic way back, and it kind of limits how far back I can go.
Okay.
But like I'm trying, but it's not something I'm as successful at as I'd like. But we're working on it.
I'm thinking bungee cord.
Bungee cord, yeah.
I'm thinking subtitles. You can get subtitles. It doesn't YouTube
I'm afraid
create.
to make. Well, YouTube can create those automatically. It is not very accurate.
Is it not?
Yeah.
Oh, we might not want to
Especially
do that.
when 2 people are talking over each other like we do sometimes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. All right, Josh, have a safe trip.
Yep. Thanks.
See ya.
See ya.